All right, welcome back, geometry students. And today, well, you can tell by looking at the picture, something that stretches or shrinks, gets bigger or smaller. The words right here, we're looking at dilations. And dilations are super simple as long as we know the rule. So right down here, the rule for dilations is you have some point xy. There's a dilation, and it'll be written with a big D with like a little k. The k will be some sort of number. And what that means is we've got k times x and k times y. So that's it. K times x and k times y. And sometimes that k will be called the scale factor. So k equals the scale factor. So if you see that that phrase, scale factor, all they're talking about there is what you multiply by. And so here, let's look at how this is with an actual example problem. So example 1 says, what are the coordinates of b, -2, 6, under a dilation of 3? So the first thing we do is write our pre-image point. And remember from our last lesson, pre-image point is just the original point they give you, -2, 6. Now up here, for step 2, where it says write the rule, we're going to write what rule it is, actually, like what dilation it is. So we know for dilation it's big D, and then the actual dilation is of 3. Now what does that mean in terms of points? Well, if you look up at our rule right here, I drew an arrow next to it, it says you take your k, multiply it by each piece. So that means, what does that actually look like? It means we're going to have 3 times -2, and we're going to have 3 times 6. Which is step 3. You're translating the point with that rule. So a dilation of 3 means you do that. And we can simplify it. And it equals -6, 18. And we're done. So you saw you just multiplied both pieces by 3. Let's see another example problem. Same point, -2, 6, only this time we have a fraction. But you're going to see it works exactly the same. So step 1, write your pre-image point, which is still -2, 6. We're going to write our rule, so it's going to be a D for dilation, but instead of 3 like before, the dilation in this one is 1/2, so we're going to write it like that. Now what does that actually mean? 1/2 is our K. You remember up here, the formula is K times X, K times Y. So here we go. We're going to do, I'll write it in blue again, 1/2 times -2, and then we're going to do 1/2 times 6. And when we simplify that, we'll get, already down here, -1 and 3. And see, I circled that 1/2 there because, remember, that is your scale factor in this problem. And if you look, though, our answer makes sense, right? Like if you wanted half of -2, you would get -1. If you wanted half of 6, you get 3. And the reason we point that out is because this next problem is going to have you work backwards, but you're going to be able to do it now. So now this third one says, under a dilation, it doesn't tell you the dilation, point A, which is 2, 4, moves to A prime, which is 6, 12. What is the scale factor? Now before we even go anywhere, let's scroll up to the top. Scale factor is K, all right, so it's what the dilation is. But we can still start the same way. The pre-image, our first point, in this case is 2, 4. And we don't know the rule, so it's D for something. We can just say K for now. And what do we actually get as our point? Well, we get 6, 12. And now this is where you have to think. How can I get from 2, 4 to 6, 12? Oh, sorry about that again. And the answer is division, all right? If you take your points and divide them, you'll actually get the scale factor. Like, for example, our end point is -6. If we take -6 and divide it by -2, we get 3. We get our scale factor. If I take 18 and I divide it by 6, I get 3, the scale factor. Even in this problem right here, if I take -1 and divide it by -2, I get 1/2. And if I take 3 and divide it by 6, I also get 1/2. So if they give you the pre-image and the image and they ask you to find the scale factor, all you have to do I'm stuttering, I'm so excited. All you have to do is actually just do the division. So here, 6, I'm going to write it up here. 6 divided by 2 will give us 3. And likewise, 12 divided by 4 will give us 3. So what is our scale factor? The scale factor equals 3. And you can always check it. If you did 2 times 3, you'd get 6, and 4 times 3 is 12. So I think you are more than ready to do all the dilation problems. Good luck, and don't be afraid to be excited about math.